she'd inherited the ability to create illusions from her deceased mother, so she could change things to be more to her liking. There was no illusion that could change the weather, though, and Kayla was limited to creating 2 to 3 illusions at a time, although that still made her one of the best illusionists alive. That was because the Sinclairs were powerful, having inherited the god-magician's strength. Olivia Beaufont had said she was tracking down the Mortal 7 representative from the Luce family first. Kayla now believed that to be a lie. For starters, she hadn't been able to locate the Luce family that was linked to the House of 7. Some families, Talon had advised her, would be harder to find than others. If Kayla hadn't been able to find the Luce family, she highly doubted that dimwit Olivia Beaufont could have done it already. Secondly, the god magician had given Kayla a special codex for once she found members of a family, to determine if they were direct descendants of the original Mortal 7. This helped narrow things down, but only once Kayla found the family members. Even using magic, this was not easy or quick. After much searching, the codex had led her to London, where Kayla had narrowed down where the Mortal 7 for the Reynolds family were located. She determined that there were 3 potential candidates, 3 siblings. The codex couldn't narrow it down any farther, but that was fine. Kayla decided to make her job easy by simply eliminating all 3 of them. The role of Mortal 7 would pass to another family member, but only if there was an eligible candidate, and the passage, according to Talon, took some time. "I'll just kill them all," Kayla muttered, the thirst for death always pounding in her veins. The thought of killing an entire family might have made some squeamish. Kayla saw those types as weak. They weren't willing to do whatever it took to preserve magic, to ensure that all of the Mortal 7 were gone for good. Pausing outside the large bank building, Kayla watched as men and women dressed in navy blue or black suits marched through the entrance, most looking important and rushed. She brought her chin up so she could see the top of the building. That was where Paul Reynolds' office was located. He was a very powerful person who controlled a great deal of wealth in and around London. She also believed him to be one of the Mortal 7. It would make sense that the most skillful and intelligent person would be chosen for this role. That was how the timeless magic the founders used to set up the Mortal 7 worked. Kayla would take care of Paul Reynolds herself. His sister, Peggy Reynolds, was presently receiving a box of magically poisoned chocolates from a courier. She would be dead seconds after the first bite. Ireland Reynolds, a scrawny nerd who owned a bookstore on the east side, would meet Spencer, the illusion Kayla had created to dispose of him shortly. It would take very little to snap his neck. But she would ensure that Paul Reynolds died very soon by her own hand. Changing her appearance to match that of the professionals entering the building, Kayla strode out from the shadows toward the entrance. When she was inside, she noticed that each person was showing a badge to a portly security guard. Kayla had known getting to Paul wouldn't be easy. That was one reason she knew he was the right person. The harder to find, the harder to get to, the more likely the person was one of the Mortal 7. When Kayla came to the front of the line, she held up a badge, and the guard nodded. She hurried past him and filed onto the elevator. Everyone exited before the elevator climbed to the top floor. When Kayla stepped off, she was met by a receptionist with too much makeup and snooty grin. "Are you lost, miss?" Unhurried, Kayla looked around at the modern office, which had a legal library on one wall and Japanese artwork on the other. When she didn't answer the receptionist's question, the woman set down the envelope and letter opener she was using and stood. "Mr. Reynolds doesn't have any appointments today." "I know that," Kayla said, flicking her finger at the metal letter opener. The woman's eyes widened when it rose into the air and hovered by her head. What? What are you doing? I'm going to call security." "No, you're not," Kayla said, striding past the woman as the letter opener slashed her throat, spilling blood on the contents of her neatly arranged desk. Paul Reynolds glanced up in alarm when Kayla entered his office. He was busy feeding the fish in the aquarium on the other side of the room.